Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Shakeel Ahmad, your history teacher. Today's topic is Syed Ahmad Barelvi. We will split and deliberate this topic under three headings. So the first heading is early biographical details. Second one is his beliefs, and finally his works or services. Under the biographical details, we will discuss the life accounts of Syed Ahmad Barelvi comprehensively. Uh, Regarding biographical details, students, you will mention out his birthplace and the year of birth. Further, his travels towards Delhi in 1806, where he was being enrolled in Madrasa Rahimia. Students, keep in mind that Madrasa Rahimia was the same one who was established by the father of Hazrat Shah Waliullah, named as Shah Abdul Rahim. So for 2 consecutive years he studied over there, learning the Quran and Hadith. In 1810, Syed Ahmad Barelvi joined the forces of a Pathan leader, Amir Khan, and during his stay with the forces of Amir Khan, he learned how to use the European weapons. In 1817, Syed Ahmad Barelvi returned back to Delhi, and now he was quite ready to start his efforts for the restoration of Islam to its original form. Now we'll discuss his beliefs. So, Syed Ahmad Barelvi, he was an ideal leader to work against the British power in India, because the life period of Syed Ahmad Barelvi, during his life, India was overall under the domination of the British. He believed that the freedom of Muslims could only come as a result of armed struggle, what he called jihad. Further, he believed that there was a need to end the evils, mean the un-Islamic practices adopted by the Muslims living in the subcontinent. It was the time the Punjab was under the domination of the Sikhs, and he believed that once the jihad was being initiated, Islam could be uplifted and rescued from the beliefs and customs contrary to Islamic beliefs, which had crept into the Islamic society. Now we will discuss the services of Syed Ahmad Barelvi. In 1821, Syed Ahmad went for Hajj. Before going to Hajj, he traveled across India and he held different meetings with different people just to convince them regarding jihad against the non-Muslim forces in India. In 1823, he returned back from Arabia. As earlier I told you that Punjab was under the control of Sikhs. So the most strong Sikh ruler was by that time was Maharaja Ranjit Singh. The Muslims suffered under Sikh rule because they were unable to carry out many of their religious practices. So Syed Ahmad Barelvi decided to initiate his jihad from Punjab. For this purpose, he toured Punjab, northwest frontier province, Rajasthan, Sindh, Balochistan, and some parts of Afghanistan, just to convince the people regarding jihad. In 1826, Syed Ahmad established his headquarters near Peshawar. Then he sent a message to Ranjit Singh telling him that he must allow Muslims freedom of worship or face the consequences. Ranjit Singh refused to follow the instructions of Syed Ahmad Barelvi. So, as a result, the forces of Syed Ahmad Barelvi and the Sikh forces, they met on 21st December 1826 at the place of Okada and shortly afterward at Hazro. So, at both the places, the Sikh forces were being defeated. Uh, by the time Sir Syed Ahmad Khan had collected more than 80,000 soldiers in his army for jihad. Uh, in 1826, in 1827, Syed Ahmad had assumed the title of an Imam. Uh, Later on, Syed Ahmad was now preparing to attack the fort of Adak when he encountered an army of 35,000 Sikhs near Okada. What he didn't know was that his Pathan chief, named as Yar Muhammad Khan, was bribed by the Sikh forces. Means he had joined the Sikhs, but this was quite not in the notice of Syed Ahmad Barelvi. So, both the forces, when encountered each other, so Yar Muhammad, the Pathan chief, he left the forces of Syed Ahmad Barelvi, and finally Syed Ahmad Barelvi had to face a severe defeat, and as a result he had no other option to move his headquarters to Panj Tarar, and that place was near Kashmir. Another setback Syed Ahmad forces had to face, that later on another Pathan chief, Sultan Muhammad Khan, he was also bribed by the Sikhs and he joined the Sikh forces. So, and that was again not in the notice of Syed Ahmad Barelvi. So, for the safety purpose, Syed Ahmad moved his forces to Balakot, hoping to liberate Kashmir and Hazara. So, Balakot was thought to be the safe place because it was a mountainous area, and that place where the forces were resting, that place was covered from three sides by the mountains. So the Sikh forces, they made a surprise attack on the forces of Syed Ahmad. That battle was called the Battle of Balakot, and it was fought in 1831. And in the Battle of Balakot, 600 Mujahideen soldiers were being killed by the sudden attack of the Sikh forces. And in the same battle, Syed Ahmad Barelvi with his Supreme Commander Shah Ismail Dehlvi, they were being killed. So by the time that movement was ended, but it put so many impacts for the coming days. For example, it was the first example in the Indian history of a movement formed to liberate the Muslims and the homeland from the foreign rule. Secondly, it was not a movement in order to place a particular leader in power, but instead to achieve religious and spiritual freedom. Furthermore, uh, that movement was significant because the jihad movement, initiated by Syed Ahmad Barelvi, was a uniting force for the Muslims for the first time.